It had been several years since we put up corn, and since we were finally out of corn that we had been using from previous years, this year was the time to put it up. So we bought a new freezer. The old one had just conked out and we had to throw everything else out. Bought a new freezer, ready to go. Rounded up the corn crew. These were the usual suspects. My sister Sylvia on the left, my husband Wayne, granddaughter Emmy, and daughter Valerie. I don't know who sent out the memo to wear pink shirts and gray shorts, but I didn't get it, so I'm the one taking the picture. This started with chopping off the ends of the corn. That block of wood and the hatchet that Wayne is using has been at every day of corn putting up as long as I can remember. It's really old. So he chops off both ends of the corn and puts it in a tub for us to shuck. So shucking is the next step. You pull off the shucks and silks. I had to teach Emmy that because this was her first time with corn. Brush off the remaining silks with a brush. Put it in a pan. If you notice, that cut pan is, that's what we call a cut pan down beside Emmy, is very old. When we get the cut pan full, we take it inside, wash it in the sink, and get it ready for blanching. Next step is blanching. Wash the corn in the sink, and then we blanch it in boiling water for just a few minutes. And all that does is set the milk in the corn so that when we cut it off, it won't be running too juicy. It'll stay put together. After the blanching, we take it outside take it out of the pots, put it in another pan, take it back outside to cool in cold water in old tubs. Don't have pictures of those. I was working inside and forgot that one. Then we cut it off. After the corn has been cooled in at least 2 tubs of cold water, and we have to keep putting ice in the water and then changing it when it gets too warm. But as soon as the corn is cooled, then we bring it back inside. We could have done it outside. Yesterday was a nice day, but we brought it inside. And this is my sister cutting off corn in an old cut pan. It probably predates our adulthood. It's that old. But we had time for lunch. I had made meatloaf the night before, so all I had to do was reheat it. And corn on the cob. So good. I believe it was some of the best corn I've ever had. Back to packaging. My granddaughter is standing in front of the vacuum seal machine where she has been putting up or vacuum sealing corn on the cob to eat later. And we didn't do anything to the corn on the cob. We just silked it, brought it in, and put it in a vacuum seal bag. We did not blanch that. And then my daughter Valerie is standing there waiting for my sister and I to finish cutting off enough the corn kernels, so she can package it in quart freezer bags. And my sister and I were over on the side trying to stay out of the picture. We're cutting off the corn. Results: our corn in the freezer. We put up 250 years of corn, which wore us out. But when our parents and grandparents put up corn every year, which was usually around the 4th of July when corn got ready, they started with 500 ears. And they'd often think, well, I may not have quite enough. So they'd go back in the fields or send the men to go back in the fields and pull some more corn. They just were afraid they wouldn't have enough, I guess. But we used to have big freezers to keep produce that we had frozen to eat for the coming year. So, but ours, it didn't take us quite as long as it might have because we put a lot of it up on corn on the cob. You can see that on the left. And then on the right, we've got quart bags of corn. These are stacked in baskets in the freezer so we can get to them. And then we also shared some of the fresh corn so that we didn't have to put that up. Each of us took some home to have to cook later. And here's where I ended up. After 2 leaves, took 2 a leaf, got on the sofa, took a nap, but was so proud of the corn we had put up today.